This is Damon Stevens with FinWealth Live. Today is June 3rd, Thursday, 2021, and this is Stock Market Update. We'll talk about the market as a whole and then get into some of the stocks that we've been tracking and see how you guys are doing and let you know kind of what potential opportunities there are out there in the market. Let's get right into it. So if you've not subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel, FinWealth Live, and also like the video if this is helpful for you in your stock trading. If we look at the market today, the Dow Jones was down 0.07, NASDAQ down 1.03, and S&P 500 was down 0.36. If you look at the heat map here, you can see that mostly the high tech, the large companies were the ones that were down the most, and just really a fraction. I mean, it was pretty much a flat day. You can see that healthcare was mostly strong, consumer defense, energy, utilities still had a lot of strength, but the rest of them were pretty mixed. You can see that on our scanner here, GTT was our biggest one for today. Not a whole lot, but it was still on the list, and so we'll cover that one on here and see if you're able to catch that trade. You can see yesterday, I put 2 days on here just so you see yesterday's move, was from about 150 to 270 was the move, and then we gapped up today. If you held on to that stock overnight, we gapped up today, and I gave you a nice ride in the morning up to 475. If you did not hold it overnight, you had a chance to get in here, possibly midstream, maybe around $4. Didn't give you much of a ride really, and then it backed off the rest of the day and kind of rode flat. So this is on my watch list still for tomorrow. Gonna check it out. I am seeing the volume come down, so that's a concern that this may just be a short run, but it is still elevated up there. So as long as it's not down here, back into $1.50, I'm still going to probably keep an eye on that, see if there's a way to scalp some of this, even if I can get 50 cents on it. So the meme stocks, or the stocks that are moving with GameStop and AMC is costs. So if you look at costs, it pulled back a lot. So you had sellers come in here and sell it down quite a bit. So from where it was up, around $44, it's come back down here and it's retraced more than half of what it did yesterday. So hopefully you did take profits, as we talked about on our videos. Definitely take profits along the way. Hopefully you did, and that way you're in. If you shorted it, great. Then you wrote it back down. But otherwise, if this would probably come back down. Don't know if this is going to go up again. We'll keep an eye on it. But this might come off my list just because I know it was a short run. This is just really, scalp trading, just taking advantage of price movement. That's really all it is. Not a long-term hold for me, at least in my portfolio. AMC, you can see also here on the 5-minute that it did come up, and we hit that 68.80, and then it's kind of come down and sold off, and we're down around the 51 range now. So, pretty much retraced 50%, and that's about what we see, in a lot of stocks is, once they elevate and they peak out, they're going to retrace about 50%, which, creates good shorting opportunities if you're doing that. Or if not, at least gives you a chance to get out of your profits and get out of the trade. BCTX has been on our list for a while. You can see that it did a big gap up, and it kind of pulled back down, and so it's sitting around $6. The low was around 281, 282. You can see a lot of support down here. So I'm waiting to see if this breaks below that 200. If it does, it might come back down to this 100 range, around $4. But we'll see. So keep an eye on that because that's the $2 range. So there might be an opportunity there. Just watching that, but it's definitely in a downward sloping trend, which makes me wonder if it's going to break down. So here's a 5-minute chart, and you can see again, big gap up, big retracement, almost 100%, back up about 50%, back down again, and so just kind of slowly consolidating down here in this little channel now, but it's still over the 200. But it is showing some weakness, so it might have just been a quick run. DOGE, so DOGE popped up there around 40, 42, 43, and just kind of been sitting there. It's consolidating kind of in this little range here now. It's come back down. It's touching, above the the moving averages here above the 5 and right on the 20. So it's finding support here. We'll see if it holds. A lot of it depends, what Bitcoin does too. And, Coinbase is now listed DOGE as a coin, so you can buy it there. Everybody was hoping that was going to cause a rally. It still could. Today's the first day. But I think overall, you got to look at the overall crypto market. And if it's pulling back, it may pull a Doge down with it. BB, so BlackBerry, this is one of the meme stocks. So if you can see, we had that run yesterday, and then it just kind of accelerated today. It was a great run. So hopefully you're able to catch some of that this morning. This should have been on your watch list if you're paying attention to the videos. We've had AMC on there since last week, and then we added these the beginning of the week so we could take advantage of the rest of them as well. But you see that it made a nice big run, clear up to around $20, and then settled back down, retraced about 50%. Down to about 1588, and that's where it says now. We're going to watch this one in the morning. We'll see, does it pull back, and retrace back a little bit more, or do we get another run and another pop up like we did today? We had really good volume today, so we'll be watching that first thing in the morning on the open. Bed Bath & Beyond, you can see that pulled back very much like Cost did. It's retraced more than 50%. So again, another short-term run probably. Hopefully you've been taking profits along the way yesterday, and today you either shorted it or you just took out most of your shares just to let it ride back down here. So we'll see if it kind of finds support here at just 30.84. If we can pop back up tomorrow and do another run, or this one could be in that same category of a short run. Here's Costs, same thing. You're seeing the same thing. Retracement more than 50% back, so it could just be short runs on those. GameStop though, similar to AMC, you see GameStop popped up here, had a nice run this morning, and then just kind of settled back down here around 258. So we'll see if that runs tomorrow. Then check it out in the morning. So AMC and GameStop, again, these are not my long-term holds. This is just taking advantage of price action and the momentum that's there. And so you got to be careful. I'm not doing full size. I'm just going in, scalping a little bit, getting that in and out quick. So on the dips. So just be real careful if you're in it, and trade your strategy, and just make sure that you size appropriately so you don't lose a lot of money if it just all of a sudden downturns. And that's the risk you have with these, is when they accelerate up quickly like that, they can decelerate just the same speed or more coming down. So you just got to be real careful. It's an in and out trade. Pets you can see similar to the others, great acceleration, and then almost a full retracement back down. Gonna watch this one. If that volatility will stay in here, it'll give me a few opportunities over at least tomorrow, possibly next week. So still on my list and my watch list in the mornings. EXPR, so Express, you can see that they had a nice little run, around earnings, and then they kind of retrace almost 100%. So I'll leave it on today, see if there's a volatility enough to take advantage of that. Otherwise, it'll be coming off my list. Skills, nice pop today, really good run. So hopefully you got some of this today. This has been our list for a couple of days here now, and so we got a nice little pop here. You have earnings coming out next week. Actually, no, this is actually in August, so I guess we're done. It was back here a few days ago. So skills might still give us a little bit more in there. We'll see. Hopefully you take advantage of that. OCGN has been on our list a long time because we got kind of all this movement here this last couple weeks. You can see that it popped up a little bit today. Gave you probably one run is all today. I didn't trade it today. I was paying attention to the other stocks, but still on my list though. Still on my watch list. Bed Bath & Beyond pulled back a little bit today. Still on my list. It's above the 200, so I'm going to watch this and see if we have a little more volatility out of this one to take advantage of. And so that'll stay on my list at least through the rest of this week, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow, you can see there's nothing really on the earnings list. So I'll just be going back and looking at some of these others that released, especially tonight, CrowdStrike, DocuSign, Broadcom, Slack. They may give you some opportunities in the morning when the early morning shares get processed and traded. So I'll be watching these in the morning as well with AMC and GameStop for taking advantage of some of that volatility. So this is Splunk. So Splunk was on our list. You can see it's come down quite a bit. This one's probably going to come off my list. This is really more just focusing on an opportunity to scalp this thing, but it'll probably be dropping off my list here, especially as earnings season starts to come to close. A lot of these stocks that I was tracing just for earnings potential, volatility potential, they'll come off my list. So overall earnings ratings. So you can see here that we're doing well. Still 79, 713 beats, 469. So overall, earnings have been positive for the market. So Bitcoin, see it's consolidated here. It is above the 5 and the 10. It's below the 20. So we'll see how long it can sit here. It's got to make a decision here sometime soon. It's kind of coming into a wedge pattern. So we'll see what direction it decides to go. We talked about DOGE already, and that's consolidating. The dollar had a nice little run, so it can show up negatively on the marketplace. And if it continues to run, we might see a greater impact, tomorrow. So we'll see. It's so far, it's still riding up north towards the 50. It's above the 5, the 10, the 20. So tomorrow could be an interesting day. It could depend on where this dollar goes and the VIX. We could start to show a trend down, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the charts. But we'll be watching closely on that in the morning. The VIX was positive, above the 5, but still below all the other moving averages. It's creeping up there. So that's probably why you have the little negativity in the market today. It's not a lot of movement. So we'll be watching that one, especially with the dollar coming up. Make sure that's not going to, cause the market to turn. And if it does, then, consider the positions you want to take a profit on and the ones you want to hold through the ups and downs. SPY. So you see we have our wave up here, and you can see that rather than going up, I have the lines in case it does break the upper lines or breaks down below the lower lines. But you can see here that we're trending down on this line here. Is it going to come down this far, and close this gap? It's hard to say. We'll see what tomorrow brings, but we are below the 5 and the 10 and right above the 20. So if it breaks the 20 tomorrow, we'll probably be coming down. The 417 level right here is pretty critical for deciding that. And it tried to test that a little bit today and then was able to pull back up. But we'll see. If it breaks this line, it could start to head up towards making new highs. Right now, it's been following this, so we'll see what tomorrow brings, see if it continues that downward slope. Triple Qs had 2 lines out here as well. You can see here last 2 days, so we come right in the middle of this line that we had here, drawn in here since last week, and you can see that it's coming down here, and now it's right on that line. So we'll see what happens, see if the Triple Qs are going to roll over here, or if they're going to bounce up and come back out of here and break this line. So we'll see. Semiconductors, you see weakness here as well. Stayed above the 10, but it's below the 5 at this point. So it's still bullish. We'll see if it can break back up, or if it's going to continue to find some weakness. IWM, same thing, a little bit of weakness. So tracking these really carefully to see what happens. Market could be ready to pull back a little bit. So just be careful if you're not wanting to hold positions long term. The financials were up, so just barely. You can see they're kind of consolidating right here above this new trend line. So just something to be aware of. If you're in the financials, it looks like it's doing pretty all right. Gold had a huge pullback. When the dollar comes up and the VIX, the gold comes down. So you can see that we're still above the 20 right here, but this long breakdown calendar broke us underneath both of those moving averages. So got a lot of work to pull back up here from 1870 back towards 1900. So we'll see what happens with gold. Silver pulled down as well, pulled further down to 27, then popped back up to 27.42. It's kind of hovering right there. It's under the 20 as well. So A little weakness here, so we need to keep an eye on that and see if we're going to see a fuller, bigger pullback to the 50. And if it pulls back more, if the VIX and the dollar continue to go up, it could even pull back closer to this 100 around 26. So just something to keep an eye on. Tesla pulling down as well. Thought it was going to come down and get underneath this gap today, but it didn't. But I didn't trade Tesla today. So I'm just kind of watching it because looks like it might be holding this bearish momentum and this market. You can see it's below all the moving averages now. So it's curling down. The next stop here is around 546, 547. If it breaks that, we could come down here to about 511, 512, or down further. So we'll see. 490 would be the next one underneath that. So we'll see what happens if Tesla can pop up here, back above the 200. But if the market's weak, Tesla will probably be pulling back down even more. All right, it's on our list. Right, pull back. So we're keeping an eye on that. You can see the overall market, if it continues to be weak, a lot of these stocks will start to pull back as well. NEO barely pulled out, positive day. It's above the 50. It's above all the moving averages, not real strong. And it's consolidated in this channel here and kind of still within this breakup candle here. You can see it broke down and then they came almost down to the bottom of that, this breakup candle, and then it kind of closed up, towards, the top or the first 1/3 here. So something to keep an eye on. So NEO might still have some opportunities for a nice run. And then Carvana I added just because, it's been tracking up for the last several days. This one I think might be a short opportunity tomorrow, just because it looks like it's peaked out here at 2281. It could pop back up if the market's positive tomorrow. It might pop up and work towards these highs around 300. But if not, I might be looking at a short here in the morning. So just something I keep an eye on for my trades here. And I'm looking at the volume coming down as well. So hope those help. Hope it gives you some ideas at least. You can always scroll through this video to the spots you want to look at. But this is what I'm tracking and trending and trading. And hopefully that's helpful for you. And everybody have a great night and safe trading on Friday tomorrow. It's the end of our week. And we'll talk to you more later. Good night.